Well, welcome back to Football with Ben Roethlisberger. My name is Spence, and as always, I am joined here with Jared Lopes and two-time Super Bowl champion Ben Roethlisberger. There he is.
Which camera's mine, Spence? That one over there?
Yep, that one. There you go.
I guess we should have covered that before. We said go, but anyway.
you know how we do on this show. Building the plane in the air, folks. I would say it's a good day today. I definitely would. I enjoy doing the show with you guys. I have a lot of fun. I like talking about
It is a good day.
the Steelers. I like when we win. Can't talk about that today. But we do have a lot to talk about. It's going to be a very, I would say a very good show today because there is a lot to talk about. No, we did not secure victory, as Coach T would say. But there is a lot of very interesting things I need to pick your guys' brains about. But
it was a late night.
It was a very late night.
Storms.
So if you guys, Pittsburgh, good for inconvenient weather at all times. Did you guys get some?
Today, no, we didn't get anything today, last night. But today, as I was in the airport, I saw just everybody's got their gear on. All the Steelers fans had their gear on. Everybody just looks tired and sad.
Yeah, no, that's...
So it's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Today. Days after game. Especially, and everyone's exhausted. I mean, the fact of how late it went to. Like, the game could have went till 4 a.m. If you win, it's like the next day is like, I'm not tired. I'm fine. Yeah. And you have a game that goes like that and ends the way it did. It's just like, everyone's like, this is the worst day ever. So gray out there. Like,
yeah.
Oh, the sun's still shining, but I hear you.
One thing I will say that I have a lot of respect. I've always respected the Pittsburgh fan base. It's just such a great sports town. One thing I will say, I remember watching. I stayed up for the whole game because I'm about that life, Jared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Proud of you.
I think some people over there were snoozing.
Over there. Yes,
Over
they
there,
were.
yes.
Yes, they were.
I mean, I was snoozing at times too.
Listen. If I'm be lying if I say I didn't fall asleep during a Geico commercial or two. But all I'm saying is like I was up when the clock ran out.
Yes.
But one thing I love to see was that stadium was packed until.
That was cool. That was packed when the lightning was going.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, y'all need to get out of there. What are we talking about?
not
Is there a rule like how long they'll let the weather delay? Or will it expire at some point when you just like call games off?
So Ashley asked me that last night because that was like the age-old debate too. Like, how long are the kids allowed to stay up? Right. So with no delay,
Yeah.
because our kids usually go to bed. Like, they're usually working their way into bed at 8 o'clock. Like, we're starting to, bath, showers, getting our way, right? Because we'd like to on a school night be like an 8:30. Our oldest is definitely like, really? Like, we can't change that? Like, at what point does it start going up? And so we have gotten to the point where we maybe let him do a little bit longer, half hour. I mean, we try to do much more than 9. So then there's a Steeler game, right? And so they're all excited, like, how long? And so before there was a delay, I was telling Ash, I'm like, hey, what do you think about letting the younger two, Bodie and Bailey, like, do the first quarter and then let Benjamin do half? And she's like, you think that he's going to be okay with just half? I'm like, no, but I mean, we can tape it and he can watch it in the morning. And so then the delay happens and it's like, clock is ticking. It's like, what time is the game going to start? Like, maybe 9. All right, 9 o'clock, we can make something work. And so I told Benjamin, like, hey, we're probably going to, just let you do like half, but as this game takes longer, it might just be a quarter.
He's like, this weather's ruining my dreams. This is my one shot.
The worst. I don't want to go to bed. My buddy, well, let's just wait and see. So anyway, then it was like 9, like they announced 9:45.
Is that when it actually started? I remember they kept saying
9:45. Because here's the thing. I kept telling everybody, I'm like, listen, they're in the locker room right now. Some guys don't have their pads on. They have snacks going in. Like, it's not like all of a sudden, hey, we're going in 5. Like, they have to give these professional athletes time to warm back up. And so I'm like, it's going to be, usually it's a 20 to 30 minute, like, okay, we're going to start it. So you got to wait for the weather to clear. And so Ashley asked me, like, hey, do you think they would cancel us? I said, no, 0 chance they'll cancel this game. I've been a part of preseason games down in Carolina, always the last game of the year down in playing the Carolina Panthers, where sure enough, we're standing in a tunnel watching a thunderstorm, and it's like there's no end in sight. And it's a preseason game, and those ones already start at night anyway. And so you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm sure someone out there will fact check me that there has been some sort of a postponement of a game. I know that the hurricane, I guess the one that I played in, my first start was in Miami. There was a hurricane. We got pushed one day. But if you have a primetime game versus the Steelers versus I should say the Cowboys versus America's team, the Steelers, you are going to get that game in. Like, it's not like it's, a storm that's like, okay, we're going to be postponed for 2. Like, I bet they would have kicked off at 12 if they had to. Like, I could be wrong, but that's my guess.
Brother,
so,
I mean, that ad money spent.
Oh.
You know what I mean? You got to make that.
And for the West Coasters, they don't care.
I don't care at all.
Yeah, they're like, oh, how
6:45 start time for them.
Still
Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Dinner. I just got done with dinner.
It was so when they said 9:45 kick, I looked over at the boys and I'm like, fellas, and at this time it was like 9:15. I'm like, fellas, it's not looking good. I'm just being honest with you.
You about to watch these highlights real
And
quick.
so Benjamin, we finally got him with the bed. I said, I'll record it for you. And he kind of kept coming out like, I can't sleep. I'm not tired. And like trying to peek down and looking at the TV. But, we got him to bed and we recorded it. And then this morning he got up and I was like, dude, all you need to do is watch the last 2 minutes and it'll tell you everything. So, but he watched it this morning. So, but those are late games. Playing in them is miserable. Losing, like the fans. Remember, we saw the one guy. They had a guy in the stands. They were showing the game, and there was a guy in a poncho, right? It looked like it was a trash bag with a slit cut in it, and then he was under. It was a clear one. He was under it trying to drink his Bud Light, but the wind was blowing. The rain was. He's trying to do like this. He's like drinking like this. It was
my guy said,
funniest thing.
Listen, I came here to enjoy a nice cold beer and stay dry. I'm gonna do both those things. Okay, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
My man. Hey, but anyway, he worked it out, my man.
He did.
Yeah.
He was miserable all game, probably.
So that was probably the best part of the game. Now, I wouldn't say that. I think there's a lot. And we're going to jump into that. We're definitely going to jump into that. But, Ben, as you know, this is a show of the people.
It is.
It's the people show, right? We are just stewards of it, trying to facilitate an entertaining time for them. And the people have asked for one thing consistently.
Yes.
More food.
Yes.
More Evan.
Right.
And today, I'm proud to announce a new segment we're doing that will give the people both of those things.
Correct.
Right? And it's called the Footballin Family Dinner. Thank you. Now, that intro, as stunning as it was a little bit misleading because, I'll be honest with you, but it was I had it prepared and I wanted to get it out, okay? We do have food for you.
Do you have some like flashy graphic that's going to just be flying through the screen?
I thought about making one.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, let's save that for when the king himself comes back.
Yeah.
Because we do have food for us. I was gonna say for you tonight, not for you, for us, but
for us.
But Evan, Evan's not here today.
Evan's not here.
He's not here today.
We're trying to get a sponsorship to pay Evan.
That's what it is.
Actually, no. To be fair, Evan's probably still upset because he is.
I was gonna say
he's one of those guys that stayed up all night.
I was like,
Evan was the guy in the trash bag.
Evan's not a guy you want to see the day after Steelers loss. He would just whatever. This food is meaningless. All life doesn't matter. So, but we do have food, and I'm actually really excited about this segment because it's Footballin Family Dinner. And if you know anything about the show, if you watch the show for any amount of time, you understand how important our families are to us. So it's not only a good opportunity to showcase some of Evan's food in the future, and we will do that. Ben has been so gracious to cook for us, so you guys get to see some of his culinary prowess, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's what happens when Evan's not here. We become mere mortals, and I put pizza in the oven.
Which one's a fork? Which one's a spoon? How does
we have frozen pizza today, fellas? Everybody out there, okay? I'm just being honest with you. This is what happens when you have a late night Steeler game. You're disappointed, and Evan's not here, okay? So, Evan, I blame you for this, okay? I have frozen cheese pizza. Doesn't even have pepperoni on, okay? It's just cheese pizza, which I think is terrible cheese pizza. I never want to eat cheese pizza. At least give me pepperoni. I'll take sausage. I'll take anything on it. Well, not anything. I'll eat cheese pizza is the second worst pizza there is after like a vegetarian pizza, okay? Just being honest. And so I'm not happy with this. So, Evan.
But we're going to do it.
We're going to do it anyway. And I'm going to go get it because I made it. Okay. And you guys are going to eat it and you're going to like it.
Listen, I'm not above a frozen pizza. But I do prefer if Evan made the frozen pizza. I mean, there's just something.
Evan would make frozen pizza taste really good.
Yes.
I feel like we need to have a discussion about while you get the pizza. what's the best frozen pizza brand? We did the.
I thought you were about to surprise me and say what was like the best toppings on a pizza. Like
We
I
can-
would do
we
that
can go
because I don't
there.
really do a lot of frozen. We only have one frozen pizza.
I've
in our
had
house.
more frozen pizza
So I'm
with
gonna get it. Hold
you
on.
than probably anybody in my life.
More frozen pizza with
That's
with,
like a
man.
weird fact I didn't expect to throw out there.
How did you? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
How
think
when do we like do frozen pizza dates? When have we had
Yeah,
frozen pizza?
You did. You know what? You did tell me like, oh, you know what? Got this frozen pizza. Let me call Jared up. You do
That's
do that
right.
all the
So
time.
here's the thing. Pretty early on in our
So
friendship,
I was gonna get the pizza, but now I'm confused.
I'm
pretty
very-
early on in our friendship, we were hanging. You invited us to our families to spend some time together.
Yeah.
And I was there sitting with my wife, and all the kids they got done swimming.
Kids.
And
For the niños.
you came out shirtless, which just was awesome.
Radiant.
You have a steel trap there,
Yeah.
bud. You remember
Radiant.
that?
Hard to forget. Hard to forget.
Seared.
Radiant
Not just shirtless. 2 frozen pizzas,
Yeah.
one in each hand.
for the kids.
That sounds like great
And
hospitality.
I think I'd have known you like 6 months at this point. I thought, this is the weirdest moment of my life.
yeah.
He ate that pizza.
Weirdest and greatest moment of my life.
It's the weirdest moment of my life, but man, was that pizza delicious.
Gosh.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is an interesting fun fact. That was brought to you by AWS.
Every time actually Ben has had to cook,
It's
and
frozen.
I've been around, it's been this
Listen,
frozen cheese.
Listen, I'm Polynesian. I will eat almost anything you put in front of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I'll circle back to explain the family dinner out of that. Family dinner is, like I said, family is a huge part of not only of our lives, but of this show. And so an actual sit-down family dinner is something that all three of us take pretty seriously and we implement on a daily basis. I think there are at least in my household, there are very few nights I can think about when we aren't sitting down around the table. So, oh wow, whoa.
Golly.
I mean, what did you fly to Florence, Italy? This is it actually smells good. I haven't eaten all day.
Oh, you didn't have to do this.
So that's what we're gonna
cut
do.
it up like you did for my kids too. Thank
We're
you.
gonna, I want to sear this in our minds at the first football and family dinner, because when Evan comes back, we're eating like kings.
Yes, this is gonna be different.
Just remember.
But family dinner. I know I heard you talking. It's important to us too. I mean, we sit down every night to dinner. It could be 4 o'clock. I know I mentioned on the show. It could be 4 o'clock because of some sort of event going on. It could be 7:30 or 8 because of some sort of an event going on. But we pride ourselves. That's how I was growing up. I sat
same.
down. We ate breakfast together. We ate dinner together. And I understand that for some people it gets hard when your kids get older and you've got high school sporting events or whatever, or multiple kids. It might not be almost possible. So I would just encourage people to do it as often as you can, at least, because it's just such a time that you can find out how the day was. We do a thing, and then we drop the kids off in the morning where we talk about like, what are you excited about today, and they get to tell us what they're excited about. And then we've been doing a new thing where it's like, okay, how were you like Jesus today? What did what did you do that was like, well, so-and-so dropped the pencil, I picked it up for him. So-and-so wanted the last of this, I gave it to him. Like whatever it is, we're like, all right, good. And we encourage that so that we want that to become like habit, right? And then we want to be more than just one. Give me how many times did that happen? Whatever. But those are all things that can be talked about at the dinner table. We've had many Bible discussions. I know through the Dad Tired have some awesome cards that we've dove into before, which are great conversation starters, and I know you should talk about. But just the importance of that we wanted to add this element to this show, because that's what we're family, our family with us, and so let's have some food, let's talk about something, and
yeah.
go from there.
Yeah, and that's something that you mentioned, like you grew up doing. I didn't even realize how.
Don't eat into your mic because the people don't like that.
Yeah, they'll let you know real quick. I didn't realize how impactful that was until I became an adult. Like we always did it. And I thought it was just habit, and something that me and my wife had been doing, even with our 2-year-old, and it's caught on because she asked your daughter Bailey this. I think every time they hang out, it was just adorable. Is what was your favorite part of your day?
Yeah.
Hey, what was your favorite? You sit down. What was your favorite part of the day? And we just wanted to get her in the habit of thinking about the goodness of the day, because there's so much that you could rob. She felt like yesterday she was playing, scraped her knee. It's probably a moment she remembers because there was pain. When you ask her what was favorite part of your day, she said that moment, but she didn't say falling down, scraping her knee. She said playing with the kids. We have our friends kids who were running around playing when she scared to anything. And she saw that in a positive light. So I love it. So that's what we're going to do with you guys here, folks. We're going to have a little bit of food, right? We're going to have a little discussion, right? We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about family. So Jared, as the resident dad advocate, what do you got first, man?
Well,
Tell us about the cards too.
Okay, couple
Yes.
things.
That's important.
First, I know everyone that's watching the show loves Ben because you're a ridiculous football player. But I do think, like, even I've harped on this a lot of times, but my favorite quality about you is how intentional you are as a husband and father, truly. And even sitting down with you at some of those dinners and seeing the way that you use that time intentionally is really, really cool. Yeah, we have those dinner time discussion cards.
They're upstairs.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. They're at our dinner table. They're at our dinner table.
Literally.
Good place to be. Yeah, those are them. Sometimes like I don't know what to say. It's hard. You come up with the same question every time and you get stuck. So I just put together. There's like I think 100 questions on there that just get the family talking around dinner. Really, really simple, but.
Because sometimes it just takes it's a conversation starter, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the hardest time, whether you're in a room, whether you're adults, whether you're kids, like what's the starter? Someone's got to get it going. Someone has to offer up the first words of encouragement of whatever. So it's nice to have that.
And kids love it. My kids run and go grab the cards immediately and want to talk about them. If I forget it, they're the first ones to go grab it. I read the study that there was they did it I think at an Ivy League school where all these kids came in high academic achievers, and yet some were, when they got into this school, some were succeeding and some were not. And they were trying to figure out what were some of the differences that were causing certain students to succeed while others didn't. And there have been actually numerous studies on this. Pediatric Association did a study on it, but there's been lots of studies on it. That kids who sit down for dinner just 2 times a week with their family excel in multiple areas of life, but academics being one of them, which I thought was really fascinating.
Oh.
One of the things they found, just 2 nights a week.
See, there you go, parents. Even if you have busy schedules, find 2 nights.
Yeah.
Well, that's-
Yeah, so usually I think it's cool to, at our family dinners, we like to tell stories. That's like a big thing. A lot of the kids like to hear stories. My kids always freak out when they hear stories of me as a child because it's hard for them to imagine like me being a kid, you know? So I like to tell stories from kids. First, though, one of the stories I want to talk to you guys about on this segment was, what do you think about, did you hear about Lebron and his son? Historic night this week. Never happened in the NBA.
It was the first game? Play? Bronny and...
yeah, but it's not like preseason,
okay.
preseason game.
Yeah. What would you think if Jam was like, all right, Dad, I'll be...
Well,
you're wide out.
They obviously are a lot closer in age. I couldn't imagine that. I would imagine it would be really, really cool. Like, does he get on him? Like when he messes up, is it like, son?
You can't go like, Dad.
Like, yeah, what's it?
Pass me the rock.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like. Like, Dad, you're being selfish. Pass the ball. Like, I don't know. I think it could be really fun. It could probably be really funny. I'm telling Mom. Like,
what number does he wear? Like, I know, like Bronny.
I don't know what he's wearing.
I'm thinking more jamming, right? Because your kids,
what Benjamin's wearing? Oh,
your kids play sports and they'll choose number 7.
yeah,
right.
But Benjamin, when he played football, he didn't want to wear number 7, which is cool. But he didn't play football anymore. But
Yeah.
I don't know what Benjamin would wear. We don't have to worry about that. That's so far fetched.
You're not making a comeback.
That's a no. But you know what? I don't want to get away from this. I did. Miss Erin who does all the socials she got an email. Some lady sent her a note, said I should get off my lazy fat butt, stop drinking beer, get off the couch and get out and do my job, play football again. Like, whoa.
Yeah, dude, 18 years was not enough.
Okay. Anyway, I just had to say that because
First of all,
my job.
How dare you?
Yeah. It's going to be a cool story. Like if they get on the floor during the season. I know there was some headlines, not even headlines, but stories earlier where they played against each other in practice and they got switched off onto each other and Bronny had to guard him. And so I think he went baseline and scored and Bronny said he stepped out, but LeBron, obviously said he must, so there's probably a lot of cool trash talk. I mean, they've been doing that probably since they were, forever in the yard. Right. So, it's a really, really cool story for sure.
I think there's got to be some deep level of emotion there. You watch that baby, first time they held the basketball.
No doubt.
on the thing.
So
It's gotta
proud.
be. It's gotta be. Whatever you think about LeBron, whenever there's a dad showing up intentionally in a kid's life, I'm stoked, regardless of what you think about him as an athlete.
I always thought the last, I don't know, let's say 3-4 years, Brown was just waiting to do it. Like, do you think this is Brown's last year? He's like, all right, man, I did it. Especially, I mean, you're telling me you don't have the hungriest LeBron of his entire career this year to like play with his kid and try to go win a championship together?
With him, yeah, for sure.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
I mean, this might be Space Jam 3. They might be able to be the Monstars. I mean, this might be the hungriest LeBron we've ever seen.
That would be crazy.
Right?
I don't disagree.
And you got to think Bronny's probably like playing with a chip on his shoulder, right? Because he's going to catch all those like nepotism comments, like,
Yeah.
oh, you only there because your
You're only
pops.
there.
Whether or not that's true, if you're a competitor, you're like, bro, keep running your mouth, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just
That
go
would be
back to anything. Dude, it's just there's a dad involved in a kid's life, and
Yeah.
and they're making history. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's super dope to witness. I think I feel like in
Hate
sport,
the Lakers.
Yeah, you're a NorCal guy.
Hate the
Oh, so do I. I'm Golden State fan.
Doesn't
so.
matter.
It's-
Still think it's cool.
So proud of you, but man,
Man,
I
wanna
hope
see
you
you lose
lose
so
badly.
Hope you guys run into each other.
What's that like? What is it? Billy Madison? He's like, Doyle rules. Is that Happy Billy Madison? He's like, I
all
hope
the
you
same.
and your
Yeah.
whole family go down.
Doyle rules.
Yeah. Hey Ben, it's so interesting. I thought about this as we're eating pizza. You know what goes great with pizza? If you had a guess.
Beer.
Yeah, it's true. That is a true statement. And I didn't, at dinner, I try to be hospitality, be good with hospitality.
Hospitable?
No, I think I had it right. Hospitable.
You did, my bad.
Yeah, and I'm really good at being hospitable at your house because I just offer your things back to you. So let me grab you the featured beer for Footballin Family Dinner today. This is the Mexicali Blues. It's a Mexican style lager.
Like the Steelers have the Blues.
The Blues. Perfect. But it's actually a little local bub, right? This is from the Church Brew Works here in
Like
Pittsburgh.
Church Brew Works. We like them.
Yes, they make good stuff. I'm gonna let you just go ahead and open that
Okay.
there. The label's on point.
Yeah.
All right.
Church Brew Works, thank you.
There you
Little
go.
lager.
Little Mexicali.
All right.
So I'll give that to you as we're finishing this up. A good one.
Nice.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is I feel like we've got a lot of really cool sports, like crazy sports things happen in the last couple years. I even thought about, I don't know why this triggered this, but Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers in his first year winning the Super Bowl in Tampa. Like that's the first time it happened in the home
Like
stadium.
sports, like unique sports.
Like
things?
just like a weird one-off sports thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting a lot of really cool stuff like that. But
All right. So one of the stories that I've been telling, or I just told my kids at dinner the other night, was this guy named Jim. About a guy named Jim. He was born in the 1920s
Ooh.
in Oregon, which is where I happened to live the last 13 years before I came out here to the East Coast. Jim has this heart. He just can't believe that there are people in the world who have never heard about God, never heard about Jesus specifically. So this is like captures his attention from a young age, becomes fascinated by this. Statistics were like for every 500 people in the United States, there's some kind of church worker who can serve the people for every 500 people. In many other countries, it's like 50,000. So for every 50,000 people, there's one person around to tell them about Jesus.
Okay.
So that just blows his mind. He just can't get over the fact that, there are not enough people around the world telling people about Jesus. Wants to go to South America as a missionary, tell people, give people Bibles, translate into their languages. Here's about this tribe where they're incredibly mysterious. They're like living in the Stone Age, very isolated tribe. And whenever they've come in contact with anyone, they're extremely violent, kill people. In fact, there was a Shell gas station where they were drilling up oil, and they had Shell took their plant away in the 1950s because so many of these villagers would come out and literally spear the Shell employees to death.
Holy cow.
So
Not a place you feel like you want to go visit.
not a place you want to go visit. So they end up bailing. There's just kind of this industrial rundown town in South America, Ecuador, next to this village of Stone Age people who are just killing people, extremely violent. For whatever reason, Jim was like, I want to be there. I want to go talk to those guys. So he ends up getting married to a woman named Elizabeth. They end up having a baby, all in Ecuador. And still, at that point, you would think like,
Well, see, he wasn't at the village, obviously.
so not yet,
Okay,
but
okay.
he's got his eyes set on like, I want to get there. I want to tell these people about God. So he's married, which you get married. But when he had the vision before, he was a single dude. And he was actually determined to be single. And then he falls in love with the girl. And he's like, all right. But at that point, you think, I'm going to settle down a little bit. You know, I'm married now. And then he has a baby girl. And he's like, you would think, again, I would for sure be like, I'm out. You know, like, I'm not going to put myself in danger here. So anyway, doesn't lose heart, wants to tell these people about it. He has a friend named Nate who's got a plane. And they would try to make contact with this village to let them know, like, hey, we're friendly. We're white people, but we're friendly. So they had this maneuver. You think it's easy just to like drop supplies, but on a plane, it's not a helicopter, you know? So on a plane, you have to, the pilot would have to circle a tight circle, and they would lower down a bucket with a rope, and he would get it almost like a hurricane in such a way that that bucket would stay in one spot. And he would lower supplies down to the villagers basically as gifts. Like, we're nice. We're here. We want to give you salt and machetes and whatever, food and tools. And so they actually developed a relationship where they're kind of shouting phrases back and forth to each other, develop some kind of relationship that doesn't seem hostile, to the point where they're like, there's this little island or this little beach. I think they called it Palm Beach, where they said, let's land the plane there, which is just outside of where the villagers were. And let's see if we can make contact with them. Super dangerous, but they developed some kind of relationship. So they get on the beach, and these three people come out from the village, and they're like, you know, tensions are high, but they seem nice and friendly. So they actually start sharing supplies together. They end up trying to talk as much as they could. One of the village guys was like, can I go in the plane? You know, he kind of motioned to the plane, like, I want to try. So first ever guy, you know, this is in the 50s. They're living in the Stone Age. You know? So gets in a plane, he's laughing, everything's great. So like, all right, tomorrow, let's do it again. Bring more of your villagers out. Let's do it again. Day goes by, nothing happens. Next day comes by, 3 more villagers come out, and they're like, all right, let's talk to them again. This time they seem a little not as happy. So they're, what's going on? It's 3 women that come out. They're trying to figure it out. Well, what had happened was internally in the village, they were saying like, don't trust the white people. Don't trust the white people. So as they're coming out to the river to meet these 3 women, they didn't know that there was a whole ambush behind them of guys who were ready to kill them with spears, these 5 missionaries. And so they get out there, and they actually, each of them had a gun with them. And they had made a commitment that we will use the guns only to kill animals that threaten our lives, but we will not kill them. And the phrase that really stuck out to me was, keep in mind, this is a dad and a husband. But the phrase that stuck out to me was, he said, I'm ready to go to heaven, they're not. Oh. I'm ready to go to heaven, but they're not ready to go to heaven yet. And so if we get in a situation, they just made a commitment, we're not going to use our guns. And sure enough, these guys get surrounded by dudes with spears, and they end up just brutally murdering them. And later, 3 days later, their bodies were found downriver with spears in them. But what's so fascinating about that story is Jim's wife, Elizabeth, she ends up not leaving. And over the next several months, ends up going back to that village, leads several of those people to Christ. And to this day, one of the guys that literally killed Jim became a Christian. And now he comes to the United States talking about sharing his story of how he became a Christian. And mainly because the wife didn't leave. Like, he was so fascinated that we killed your husband and you still stuck around. And it's just, I just thought, man, as a dad, a guy that I have so many excuses to like not take things seriously, you know, just to get comfortable. And this guy, even as a husband, he was in his 20s. Young dad, young husband, still committed to sharing his faith to the point of death, which I thought was really fascinating and super challenging to me.
Yeah, because he didn't have to die. I mean, he had to die, but he didn't have. I mean, he could have. Yeah. It could have been avoided, but he made a commitment not to, because he knew.
So I'll share stories like that. I like to share stories like that with my kids, and I have 2 older kids, so you want to be appropriate. You know, I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, so I'm talking about spears going through guys, my little girls. But I have a 13-year-old and a 11-year-old, and you share stories like that. That's a true story, Jim Elliot. And then you just like ask, like, what do you think about that? And you watch how a kid's mind processes that. You know, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, Jim Elliot's he's a real deal. I mean, some of his writings and stuff, he's a real deal.
That's crazy. I mean, especially like you said, having a wife and a kid, like that would, I mean, I think a lot of people, that would change. I mean, I know, we'll be able to talk about this next week, but next week we are, we're going on a mission trip, our family. And I was always, I was all for giving to missions and doing those kind of things, but never actually physically going. And we're going to do it. I think it's important for our kids to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it, and we're excited to go. Convoy of Hope is a great organization. It's going to be I think it's going to be a great time. But it's like it got real today, and we had a meeting. We had a Zoom call today with the people involved, and it got kind of real because you're just like, okay, you're just thinking about your family and the kids and all the things involved, and looking forward to it. But it's still like I'm in charge of my family, keep them safe, protected, and I couldn't imagine going to a place like that and with a wife and kid. It just is. It's a different level of commitment and love, and love of the Father. But man, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's wild. But
yeah,
God is good.
Yeah. I think of all the things that I say no to that don't even like scratch the surface of that. Like just like we probably can't serve there because like
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got the kids and I'm we're busy.
Yeah, I hear stories like that too, man. And I've always felt like this through my walk. And I've been graced to walk with the Lord since I was 19. I mean, it's scraped my knees a bunch, in this walk. But I think like it can be hard to hear a story like Jim Elliot's life and feel like, okay, I gotta go do that. But I've always heard his story in amazement to that. And the biggest thing that I've taken away from it was not necessarily all of the details which you shared, which are prominent, but the level of obedience. Because what he was displaying and all that was obedience to the call, obedience to the agreement that they made, obedience unto death, which is very reminiscent of another guy I know, right? And I think when you look for real world applications to something like the story of Jim Elliot's life, or the countless other martyrs. I mean, I think about Rembrandt, the prisoner for Christ. I think it's Richard Rembrandt. He was a Soviet pastor, but really great story there too. I think they made a movie about it, but it's. The takeaway for me has always just been, are you being obedient to what God is saying to you? And it could be, go to Ecuador. It could be, hey, take this. Or it could be, hey, man, like stand firm in your beliefs. Hey, man, give. There's been so many times I've always, when I look back, there's been times I felt like God asked me to do something small. And I always joke that like my wife is my spiritual safety net. Because when I tell the Holy Spirit no, he usually tells it to her and she'll do it. I'm like, hey, but like two become one though, right? So we're like, I got to get an assist or something, right? Because she couldn't do that if I didn't say no. So, but it's always that reminder of like, that feeling that I said no to was God trying to do work, right? And the only thing I did was remove myself from being part of the blessing, and I think the hard thing is like, this is all going to sound absolutely ridiculous if you are a follower of Jesus. So if that's where you're at right now hearing this, that's what it's going to feel like to you. You know what I mean? But when go ahead.
No, I was just curious. Because you just said that, I don't think I've ever asked you specifically, like at 19 years old, what made you make the decision that you were going to become a follower? Most people were like, oh, you were brainwashed by your parents. That's why you're a Christian.
No, I was raised in the church till I guess middle school. And then I just live my own life. You know what I mean? I think you mentioned at a different episode of like trying to be your own God. I'm like, humans are really good at trying to be gods, really bad at actually being God. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff now. The problem that I've ran into in my life is not necessarily that I'm getting any better at being God. It's just we redefined what a successful life looks like. And it's like we're putting makeup on a corpse. We're like, yo, we're crushing it. I'm like, buddy, we've just changed what morality means. We've changed what success means. We've changed what faithfulness means, and it's just to lower the bar, to not make us feel bad. When really the conviction that comes along with surrendering unto Jesus is actually the thou shalt and the thou shalt nots are not necessarily. I heard a pastor say this. They're not like restrictions; they're directions, and they're directions into the fullness of life. To where, like, at the same time, if you were like, "Yo, dude, I need you to come over to the farm," you're like, "Hey, I'm at this road. No, don't go down there. Take a left over here." That's a affirmative, right, and a negative. So it's like, don't do that, but do this. And so that was so for me. It was at some point in time. If you live long enough, you'll reach the end of yourself, and you can either acknowledge that you are a created being that can only operate in fullness with a relationship with that creator, or you can start changing the rules of the game until you run out of time. And then by the end of it, you can be like, well, I'm not that guy. I no longer do this. I'm like, it's the whole point of the creator relationship is the creator saying, I want you. I don't need, like, God, he's not, your behavior follows your belief. Like, yes, to be saved, you trust unto Jesus, but God's after the believer, not necessarily the belief. That's just the operating system in which we get reinstated through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So what explicitly, that's a different episode. Yeah. That's a long story with a lot of characters. But yeah.
I mean, not to put you guys on the spot, but Ben, I'd like to, like, when did you make a decision, like, I'm going to be serious about my faith? And I think what's fascinating about that is so many people, I've heard people say, well, religion is just a crutch. If that's what you need to get you through life, everyone needs something to get them through life. Religion is it. But I'm like, why would you need a crutch, bro?
I would say this before you answer. I don't mean to, I will say, sure, I'll give you that. Religion is a crutch. I would also say you're not aware that your legs are broken too. So make fun of my crutch all you want, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's really good. I just think some people will be like, everyone needs a crutch, but that just happens to be yours. Sure. Religion.
Yeah.
But,
I get that.
yeah.
But
That's good. Yeah. I mean, again, mine's a longer show we've talked about on this thing a few times, whatever. But yeah, I think it was just, getting married and having the kids, just realizing, I always grew up in the church as well, same thing. But just realizing, that there's so much more to this life than kind of what you're living and what you're living for. Same conversation we just had with our oldest son the other night. That the things that on this earth that we're living for are the things that aren't important. That at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you're either going to be in heaven, you're going to be in hell. And when you're at either one of those places, you're not going to remember about fantasy football or golf or football or whatever it is. It's going to be, what was my relationship like? And what was my relationship like with my Lord and Savior? And so that's just, it was just, and I still strive. Obviously, all three of us, I know we do. That's why we sit here. We're never going to be finished products. I think that's what's great about this, our group of friends and who we are is, there's none of us are ever satisfied with where we're at. We're always striving to get better, to learn, to grow closer to each other, to our Lord, to our church, whatever it is, our small group. So that's what I'm most proud of, is hanging out with guys. And my wife challenges me too, because she's constantly in the Word and doing her thing, and she makes me want to be better with it too. So I think that's it's the challenge to just continue to face.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that Ash is like a legit theologian. Like a legitimate, like all of our wives are smart. Yeah.
Sweetie, I'm not saying it.
Yeah. I mean, all of our wives are like smarter than us and holier, but Ash is like got credentials. She's a legitimate like theologian. So we'll have theology Thursdays with Ash.
There you go.
Yeah. But,
bro, this actually was a very good frozen pizza.
I was gonna say that, bro.
What brand
you was you was talking all that heat though. I took the first bite, and I didn't know if it was because I was hungry. I was like, "Hey man, who makes this?"
That's a gluten free, because the Ashley and Bailey and Benjamin are gluten free.
That was gluten free.
It's gluten free.
Even more surprising, because I love
actually
gluten.
pretty good.
Give me
I love gluten. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love gluten?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of gluten. I was stoked when it was free.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a bad joke, guys. Come on. I turned into a dad. All my jokes got worse. They were never great, but they got worse for sure.
I had my favorite frozen pizza
What
brand.
was it? DiGiorno?
No.
You
Motor
liked it,
City Company Costco deep dish.
Oh,
Or
Costco
like
one.
deep dishes.
I don't either, but it's
This
a
was good?
Costco Motor City.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
I don't know if I have a.
What's on it?
That one.
You can get they got the Supreme.
I know, but what are you getting?
I get the Supreme one, but for the kids, I get pepperoni or cheese.
Tell a lot about him, man. based on what he orders on his pizza toppings. Is your Supreme your go-to order? As we get, I mean, we're talking.
You're going to a pizza joint.
What
do you order?
getting? This is very important.
I'm a big meat guy. Yeah.
Yeah, like so.
You're a big me guy.
Me guy.
Meat guy.
Wow, narcissism. Let me tell you about
Whatever it
Jesus.
is I want,
Like
I get.
when I talk about
so
me,
you're a
when I
meat
talk
lover?
about.
So it's like
Meat lover.
pepperoni, bacon,
Yeah,
sausage.
all the meat.
Oh, you like Arby's, huh? You got the meats.
Not quite the same. But I do put a lot of peppers
What do you mean?
on whatever, like
Red pepper flakes.
Oh, like the like pepperoncinis or whatever.
Pepperoncinis.
Yeah. Do you like it spicy? Spicy?
I do
guy?
like spicy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I knew I respected you.
Yep.
I knew. I was
A
like,
little
I like
better.
this guy. I like this
I'm,
guy.
if I took my shirt off right now, the amount of hair on my chest.
Yeah. Well, don't do that.
Please don't.
I know in your
We just
mind the
ate.
frozen pizza and
Just
the,
ate.
and the yeah.
Just ate. We're fine.
It's not a lot, honestly.
Just ate.
Just drawing on with a Sharpie, man. Come on. Well, yeah. What's your go-to order?
Giuliano's.
Shout out. Hold on, let me punch in on that.
Love Giuliano's.
There you go.
Love you, Giuliano's. They make a fantastic ranch too.
They might have the best ranch in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
I'll say it.
Wait, what?
We'll turn you on to it. Yeah. It's great.
The dressing?
Yes.
The ranch dressing. Yes.
Like thick. Like you, if you go
like
like
garlicky.
So the, like
Oh, dude, love it.
Hidden Valley Ranch is like the quote unquote best ranch there is until you do Giuliano's.
Little HBO.
And now you can't even go back to it.
Are they a
I
chain?
can't. No.
No.
Huh, how dare you? How dare you?
I meant like local
Well,
chain. They got
no, it's a
multiple-
local
just
one
one.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Man,
make
get
this,
them on the
their
horn.
thick ranch. It's so good.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of anything except for cheese. Just plain cheese. I don't really like a Supreme. And I don't mind olives, but I don't want olives on my pizza. I don't really want green peppers. I can eat them, just don't want them. So other than that, like I don't really have a lot of issues when it comes to my pizza.
Equal
But
opportunity.
but when I order it, I usually get pepperoni, fresh mushroom, and jalapeno.
That's my
That's
order.
my go-to.
Do you have a
100%. That's my order.
That's what Ashley has.
Did we know
look
that?
at you guys?
I don't know. I mean,
Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Favorite dinosaur 3. 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
Do you guys have melon mushroom out here?
No. Melon mushroom's good.
No,
They
melon
have
mushroom.
a holy shiitake pizza.
Yeah.
It might be the best pizza I've ever had.
I like melon mushroom.
But the
we need to-
shiitake mushroom.
Should we just shut this down and go like do some sampling?
I like
very
Donato's
good.
pizza. Donato's is my go-to, but that's like an Ohio Midwest type thing. So good, so good. I could crush a large pepperoni. So it's super thin. It's like this thin.
I've learned a lot about you guys today.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Well, thanks for the show. See you
Yeah,
guys
that
later.
was great. So so let's talk about sports.
Anything else to talk about?
Yeah, unfortunately. Listen, man, I'll say this. We're talking about some ball right now. This is the section of the show in which we usually get to celebrate the fantastic performance of our Pittsburgh Steelers. I will say underwhelming. Yes, obviously we didn't come out with an L, but I think for me, I underestimated the Dallas Cowboy offense. I thought for sure our defense would have a field day. Did not work out that way. I think we had some injuries too at the end of the game, but I know we were talking. I don't know, maybe early on in the season, maybe week 1, whenever Dak signed that
Ridiculous.
yeah, that crazy thing. I was like, man, I know he's good. Like I never questioned. Like he's a good quarterback, but I was like, this is it? I mean, it was always an ongoing joke, especially growing up a 49ers fan. Like it was always an ongoing joke. Like don't worry, like Dallas will, like they'll ruin it.
Blow it.
Right, exactly. But I'm like,
Hey, tried. Hey, Dak tried.
he tried.
Be honest.
Well, and that was what was so frustrating, man. I was like,
But is it more frustrating because the game was so close and there were 3 turnovers in the red zone? I mean, think if there aren't those turnovers, it might not be a close game. So then are you more frustrated as a Steeler fan or are you?
well, yeah, for that, for sure.
I mean, well, I first off, I'm gonna let you get back to it, but if we're gonna talk about the defense real quick, I got to give shout out to TJ, 100 sacks, second fastest do it after the Reverend Reggie White. Congratulations! I know you never want to break or set those records in a loss, but man, awesome job! You are an animal, and here's to another 500 sacks or whatever you're gonna do for the rest of your career. But congratulations! So anyway,
I think this is TJ.
yeah.
Round of applause. Now let's get that man a ring. Stop playing around. This is a world champion. He deserves the hardware.
He does.
Okay, I'm done with that. Yeah, so I think with I'm focusing in on the Dallas offense first because I think I either underestimated them or they found a rhythm and a groove that allowed them to pick apart what we were doing on defense.
Well, can you just before we dive in the game, can you just touch on any mental shift that having a delay like that throws in?
Yeah, no, it's definitely there's something to that, especially because you're amped, you're ready to go, and then it's like, all right, now we just gotta wait. Like, because when you're playing, when game time, you have a schedule, you have a routine, you know, this many hours before the game I'm doing this and this and this and this, and you're breaking it down, and then you're all ready to go, and then literally, you know, not long before kickoff, it's like, oh, we're delayed, and then you're like, okay, now everything just gets like, okay, I want to get into my routine again, and some guys are superstitious where they have to do things in a certain, you know, order and schedule, but just to have a routine, I think, is important, and so that's all thrown into flux. You know, then you're sitting in front of your locker, or you listen to music, or you eating, or you talking, or you playbooking, or I'm sure a lot of people are on social media, but it just the routine is thrown off. But you know what you do is when you sit there, though, you know that they're going through it too. It's not just you. It's not like they're, you know, ready to go. Everyone's sitting there doing the same thing. So it's just about who's the more veteran team, who's the team that's got the, you know, coaches that are prepared for it and that have been through it. And because at the end of the day, you're going out there to, you know, at the same time, you're going to, both teams have dealt the same thing. So definitely not easy, but something that as professionals you can deal with. So, and then you want to talk about the offense.
Well,
right?
yeah,
I mean, like the Cowboy offense. I would say this.
Yeah.
I would say they were very efficient on third down. I don't think we were good on third down as a defense. I also think some of what plays into that a little bit is being worn out, being tired. I think our defense was on the field a lot. That's two parts. That's one part because we're not stopping them on third down, and it's another part because we can't stay on the field on third down. Our offense can't stay on the field and sustain drives and give your team a break. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I want to say the offense probably had, 58, 60 plays, right? And I think the Cowboys had in the 70s. It's a big deal. It's a lot of plays, And so the way that the Cowboys turned the ball over, they were without a couple of their I can't think of the receiver off the top of my head that's on IR for them. But obviously they have CeeDee Lamb, who's an absolute animal. They were down offense and defense a lot of guys last night, so you would never expect what was going to happen or what happened to happen. I think it was, again, I'm going to go back. If you would have told me going to the game that the Cowboys were going to get a field goal blocked, fumble in the red zone, throw an interception in the red zone, at least one, if not two. I'm trying to go back in my head, but that was going to happen, and they were still going to win the game. I'd say you're crazy. That just doesn't happen. And so I know it's got to be frustrating for that defense because the defense, they're getting big splash plays from the rush. TJ Herbert goes down. That's a killer.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
You got a turnover late in the game. JPJ, great play by him. That's an awesome play because DBs don't typically make that play over the shoulder deep ball. He did. But you're just kind of missing. Where's that ball coming out? Fumble, I want the splash play that Minka's known for. We're just missing that right now. And I'd like to think that they're going to come in waves and bunches. And I know people are making a bigger deal that it's been a while since Minka's kind of had a turnover or done something like that. But all it takes is one, and it here we go. It just the dam gets broke. You know?
Well, that's an interesting observation to make because I do think is Minka playing a different position on the field now because they got KZ up front.
Well, they got him playing deeper. I think
right.
I think what happened is going off of last year, there were a lot of big plays given up, and Minka's your kind of ball hawk. He's probably better off being down in the line of scrimmage or in the box, as they call it, where he can make a lot of plays in there, guard your tight ends and your running backs and some of your slot receivers. But they've got him in the deep safety spot. And I like what I think it's Elliot 25 is doing. They're bringing him down a lot. And he's firing in there and he's making plays. I love that he's sticking his nose in there. But Minka's not out of position. He's just in a little different position. And I don't know if he would prefer to be down there making plays or if he likes being in the back end. But there's just too many big plays. I mean, the Cowboys. Someone read a stat I heard earlier that like the number of like 30-yard plays by the Cowboys were like 1 or 2. The Steelers had none. Then 20 to 25-yard plays, the Cowboys had X amount, 3 or 4. Steelers had 1. Like it's just like where's the big splash play? And so I think that's what's frustrating. And those are the plays that help you stay on the field and give your defense a rest. And I know that playing for a long time when there were games or seasons when the offense wasn't doing well, especially early in the season, you felt the frustration of the defense. You felt them being frustrated because they're on the field like crazy, and you want to help them out, but sometimes it just doesn't work out very well.
I know you guys mentioned Dak, but from your perspective, how do you think Dak did last night? Did he earn his pay?
Well, he won the game. He had 2 huge drives when they needed it most. He had the one at the end of the third quarter, I think, that went into the fourth. That was like a 90-yard drive, 16-some plays. And then the last one, he goes down the field and throws a touchdown to win it. And that's what you're paying a guy to win the game. I think now if you look at the totality of the game, he sack, fumble. Those are hard because you got 2 guys coming. TJ's, that's what he does. The interception was, there was obviously some controversy on the TV of CeeDee Lamb and Dak, who was at fault, who wasn't. It looked like there was a little, or maybe CeeDee did a little John on the sideline. Dak just had his head down, but that was just, you can't do that. So all in all, I think for the linemen that were going down, there were guys that were stepping up for the Cowboys that I didn't even know who they were. And that's what you want. That's what you expect. But that's also what a good quarterback does. He elevates those guys that you don't know much about to bring it and be their best. And I thought he did a good job of that.
Yeah, man, I think one thing that stood out to me there was how many penalties were happening last night. I felt like, I'd love to find the stat here. I don't have my computer out right now, but how many false starts there were? Like what?
Yeah.
Like, is it? I know we had some injuries, some like you said on the Cowboys side, there was people rotating in. I think a couple times, Collinsworth was saying like, "Oh, this is his second, time being out with it." So, but even on our side, man, like it was great to see Isaac back.
Yeah,
Isaac was back there.
He did, but see, he did get run over once.
That one time,
and created a fumble that was not on Justine Fields. Not his fault. I mean, you don't expect your guy to get run over like that.
Yeah.
Like it is good to have him back out there, and I think he'll get back into the groove of it. But
especially Isaac, you don't expect because
he's a
player too. Yeah, but I felt like you talked about this with when the league wants to make a statement on things and they really want to crack down. It's like they make a point. I feel like this season's so far, man. There's been so many false starts. Is that like what do you think is contributing to that? Is that a lack?
Who knows? I mean, sometimes it's environment, sometimes lack of focus, lack of discipline. That wasn't something that I didn't think about the penalties last night. Like it didn't stick out to me. I don't know what the penalties numbers were, but I'd have to look at that a little more. I wasn't kind of aware of the discrepancy of it. Was it like heavy one side, I wonder?
I mean, that didn't stick out. I just felt like, man, it's another flag. Like, what are we doing? And kind of in that same vein, as far as the refs, weighing in on the game, what do you think about this replay assist? Because I think that is actually called a touchdown. Helped. I forgot which team. I need to bring up the stats. Sorry, guys. But the replay assist confirmed a touchdown.
Well, I think the replay assist is great. It speeds up the game. But where's the replay assist last week on Minka's hit? Like, when do we use it? Are we just like, let's do it this time, or let's not do it this time? Like, it's a great thing. You can have 10 to 15 people watching every game, and they can literally ring down. I mean, I don't want to take the human element of a mistake made by an official, but if there's something that's like an egregious or a potential game-changing thing, like a touchdown on the sidelines, a big penalty of roughing the passer. I mean, any of those kind of things. Like if you can, and it wouldn't have to slow down. Literally, when the play's over, someone's watching 20 different camera angles, and before the ball is even put back in play, they can earpiece right to the head official. Hey, that's not a flag, or that is a flag, or whatever. Like, so I understand that there's some arguments both ways. But if you have that replay assist, when are we using it? When are we not using it?
Dude, I thought the same thing. I'm like, in 2024, we live in the future, bro. You're telling me right now that we can't have, you put 15 people, employ 15 people to do that, to be watching these camera angles, to where you should never miss a call ever. With the amount of technology we have, you should never miss a call in National Football League.
I know.
Even if the ref's like, yo, I saw this. If somebody's like, hey, man, like, we have it in 4K, I'll let you know.
From 80 different angles.
Yeah. Scott Cam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned the defense, Steelers defense. I thought one thing that was awesome. I love this dude as a human, but also as a player. The fumble that was created on the goal line by Elandon Roberts.
Oh.
This man jumped 7 yards across.
That was
Talk to me about that.
So much fun to watch. As I was watching the game live, right, as I was laying in bed watching it, because they got down there really easy, and I'm like, oh. But see, okay, I'm going to get to it. I don't want to lose my train of thought. No, when you get down there, I was thinking to myself, like, this is when Tomlin and the Steelers shine, though, because this is situational football. This is what Tomlin harps day in and day out. It's the goal line. It's the 7 shots. It's the 2-point play. And so I'm like, I always felt like if I had the ball first and goal and like inside the 5, I'm scoring. I got 4 downs, like I'm gonna score.
Yeah,
I got 4 different times I can try and score. But I've seen our defense rise up in those situations and hold someone on 4 straight times, on numerous occasions. And so they got down there, and I'm like, man, this is not looking good. And then like first down happened. Was it second down that happened or third? I don't remember what down it was.
Might have been.
But
Second, I think.
When he handed that ball off, I was a little surprised they handed it off, but they handed that ball off, and it was like, it reminded me of like Troy Polamalu jumping over the line. The only difference is Troy's hair flailing back here like this. But like, he went airborne and he hit the ball perfectly. It was, I mean, he had so much momentum and weight going. I was like, oh, like I was almost like audibly like actually sleeping. I'm like, holy cow! Like that was like, it's like as a football, as a football like fan or purist, you are like, holy cow.
Yeah.
As a person that just wants to appreciate an unbelievable play, you're like, holy cow! It was spectacular, and not just to stop him. Like you see guys jump over line and they miss or they get dragged in, whatever. He hit him, stoned him, and knocked the ball out. Like he almost won the game. And if Dak Prescott carries out his fake, like I didn't do in Indianapolis when Jerome fumbled, you know, like he doesn't recover that ball, and it's a different ball game. But that play was that should go down. I know people are going to talk about Lamar's play from this week where he scrambled and threw to the guy on the ground and threw a touchdown pass. Like, yes, spectacular. All the props in the world. This play needs to sit right there with it because that was something really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about selling out for your team and you're
I do, but I'll say this, man. That's something that I've grown accustomed to expect out of Elandon Roberts. Like he's one of those players. He hits hard. He's aggressive. He is embodying Pittsburgh Steelers football. I think that's just another example of it. You were mentioning the way that you responded to that. I think was the way that all of us respond to that hit. Like I was praying that someone would just magically pop up in black and gold in the backfield because Dak recovering that was like their saving grace. But going off the same wavelength of your response to the game, I was told that your response to that, I'll call it egregious hit on Justine Fields, was similarly like outrageous. Yeah, and you don't typically do that.
That's what Ashley said. We're talking about the play when Fields kind of scrambled right and he came back to the left and he threw it and I don't think he saw the guy. I really don't, because Fields is a really big dude and he got lifted up like a little bit of a rag doll. And that's not who. I mean, he's a big, strong man. And when he got hit, my reaction, Ashley was like looked at me like, holy cow. She goes, that must have been really bad because I've never heard you react like that on a football play. And I'm like, wait till you see the replay.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, for him to get back up, like like I was waiting for blood to be poured out of his mouth. Like I didn't know what was going on.
I think he would have stayed in the game had it not been for the medical, like pulling him out.
For sure.
Yeah.
He they're like, well, the Hockley says we have a medical like emergency or something.
He's like medical timeout or something.
And then he doesn't leave the game. And it's like, wait a second, who else is the medical emergency for?
Yeah, exactly. You did hear on the broadcast the mic of the rep, they were huddling up, and Justin was like lining up. He goes, "Hey, you got to get out." It's like, you got to leave the game. And so Justin runs over.
Either Justin didn't know that he was dinged up,
right.
or he just was fighting. But
What game?
Yeah. We playing? Yeah.
But he goes out for 2 plays.
Yes.
I thought when he came back in the game, they started throwing the ball down the field, and like every play was a pass, and we were matriculating the ball down the field.
Hold on. Hold on.
hold on. Let me pull out the dictionary.
Wait a second. Miami of Ohio. Excuse me. I didn't know you guys were an Ivy League school. What is that?
Didn't you guys hear that I eat dinner with my family every single night?
Okay.
One frozen pizza, and the dude just pulls out a vocabulary.
I know. Miami of Ohio is a Harvard of the Midwest.
You guys know it.
Jeez.
Learn it.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Professor.
Anyway, they're moving the ball down
Thank
the
you.
field.
Dumb it down. I just ate a frozen pizza. Don't act like I know what you're talking about.
And I'm like, yes, this is what I want to see. Like, where's more of this?
Yes.
I understand that you want to be a team that runs the ball and is physical, but when it's not working, stop running your head into the wall. Naj is not getting it done right now. And I'm not saying it's Naj's fault. Naj runs hard. He is doing everything that he can. But the run game is more than just the runner.
Yeah.
It's the line, it's the tight ends, it's the receivers, it's everybody's involved. And Naj is working really hard, but it's just not there right now. So find other ways to get the ball down the field. And that's what they did on that drive, right after coming out of the blue tent too, which is even more surprising. It's like, yes, this is what you want to see. You want to see these shots. I mean, I'll go back earlier in the game. Like, I loved what they did early in the game with Justin. I thought the shot he took to Connor Hayward was a perfect pass.
Yes.
Connor dove for it. Probably, we always tell receivers, don't dive. It's hard to tell guys because you're actually faster when you run through a ball instead of dive. People think you need to dive for it. Same reason you don't slide into first base, right? You run through it.
Okay, so English and physics. Good for you, bub.
But you run through it. And so, but again, diving isn't the worst thing in the world, but it hit him. I mean, hit the palms of his hands. I think he'll tell you, and he's got really good hands. We've seen him make a lot of plays. I think he would tell you that he should have had that one. But that's a great throw. I thought the throw down the kind of the seam to Mount Washington was a little high, but it wasn't awful. You're allowed to miss a throw.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was that he was terrible. Did he? There was a ball early that maybe could have got intercepted. But my point in saying is, I thought he was throwing the ball well on that drive. Like why are we not going back to that more? And obviously you got to have protection. The line has to do a better job of protecting. But man, throw the ball when you get a chance. Where's our wide receiver screens? Where's our tight end slip screens? Where's our running back screens? Like, we have alley screens you can throw. Like get the ball out of your hands and get them to your playmakers quickly.
Yeah, especially when you got guys like Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin. Like, Calvin Austin is quick.
Give the ball to Calvin. Why did Van? And listen, great job by Van, kind of coming out and doing some stuff. Are we going to see Roman Wilson at any point this year? I don't know that Roman's going to make a big splash anyway. We've been talking now for weeks about needing a number 2 receiver. Yeah. It was never more apparent than it was last night that we need a number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
And Van is doing a great job, and he's making plays when he gets a chance. But you're not taking advantage of the slipperiness of Calvin Austin, and George is not getting involved. We can talk about that in a little bit. It's just frustrating sometimes when you're not utilizing the guys. Like you love that. Like, we know that Arthur Smith loves the tight end. Throw a tight end slip screen. Slow down the rush.
You got 3 tight ends that are more than capable of being absolutely lethal in this offense.
It seemed like they started the game with a lot of QB runs. Do you think that was like how much of that was the game plan?
I think, yeah, I thought I liked that. I liked getting Justin out early, using him as a runner, because what happens is you now have 11 guys running the ball, right? Typically, if a quarterback hands the ball off, the quarterback's then out of the play. There's nothing he can do, and there's one extra guy on defense. So as soon as your quarterback runs, now the field is level, right? You got 1 for 1, and I loved the way that they came out running the ball with him, designed QB runs. I thought that was smart. I think he's big, he can handle it. I think from what I can remember, they all were positive gains. I thought the opening drive was a good drive. They went down, they got 3. I think it was that one or the second drive, whatever. But they went down and put points on the board. Obviously, you want 7, but I don't know why does it get stale? Like where's the staleness coming from in the offense? And I know it's slow. We're starting slow, and so you have to kind of pick it up in the back end. So we're throwing it and doing different things. But let's start. And he did take the shot. He took the shot to Connor Hayward down the sideline. But I still we're sitting in the pocket throwing passes in that one drive when he comes out of the blue tent. Why are we not doing that more? And there's more ways to get guys involved. And there was a play earlier on third down at the end of the half. It looked like he had Pat right about the first down marker, and he didn't pull the trigger on it, and instead he kind of scrambled left and threw it deep to George Pickens. I'll say this: I think when you have a talent like George Pickens, you take that shot, you take that chance. That's fine, but you also have a stud in Pat Freiermuth, who get the ball to him, get the first down, and then you get going. So there's some sort of disconnect going on right now between Pickens and well, it seems like the whole team, I guess, not just Justin, but there's something going on because he didn't play much. I mean, as much as he had in the past.
Yeah, and we can dive into that because I think it leads into an interesting conversation about free agency that's coming up and some maybe a opportunity to acquire some more talent there. But something you're talking about, Justin being able to complete these throws. I thought when they're pushing the pace, they do really well. On the drive when he comes back out of the blue tent. He's a lot more accurate than I think his time in Chicago allowed me to believe. I think his arm is way better than I had anticipated it to be. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if you have a quarterback who is able to run effectively and being as elusive as Justin is, you almost don't need to establish the run to get the defense to fear it because it's always a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're beating our heads against the wall. Just Naj is trying. He's working his butt off. But if it's not there, it's not there. But the quarterback runs are there. Keep using them. But again, the running game will open up if you start throwing the ball down the field.
That's my point.
But listen, we can sit here all day. We're not the ones calling the plays.
Well, I was screaming pretty loud on my TV. I think Arthur might have heard.
But there's a lot of ways to get the ball down the field. They did a little bit of it. They took that one play, that little rollout play action shot. But you can also just throw 10-yard routes, 12-yard routes, 15-yard routes, like in routes, digs, curls, things like that. I just want to see the ball get in the hands of the playmaker sooner. Slow down that rush a little bit. If your line is struggling a little bit, there's multiple ways to help them. And that's screens, draws, tight end screens, tunnel screens, outside wide receiver screens, and then take your shot.
Especially against Cowboys defense.
Yes, against guys that were down.
A thin Cowboys.
They were down?
Yeah, they're missing guys and they're already ranked at the bottom of the ranking.
They went into that game thinking this is going to be we're gonna have a day, right? They're ranked in the 20-something, like you said. Multiple guys, Micah Parsons missing, Lawrence missing, multiple guys, and then going down. I think that's probably where a lot of the frustration comes from today with Steeler fans and probably, obviously people inside the building is, wait a second, they were down all this and we should, not saying that we're an offensive juggernaut, but still these are one of those games you go into yeah, let's go. But that's why you play the game on Sundays and it's prime time because people step up. And like I said, guys stepped up yesterday for the Cowboys that no idea who they even were.
I'd love to hear your final, in that final drive, Cowboys. What was going through your mind? What do you think's going through their mind?
Yeah, I mean, it just looked. I mean, you're like, okay, D, give us one more. Give us one more. You've been doing it. Give us one more. And but they're exhausted. They're worn out, and they're giving you everything they have. I mean, you got a guy jumping from 7 yards away to stop it. I mean, they're putting their body on the line. It's not easy. And they get all the way to a fourth down. I mean, you got one more stop, and then Dak, slide back, shuffle left, and throws an absolute perfect pass. I mean, if the ball's 3 to 4 inches back, the guy might get his arm. If the defender doesn't hesitate for a quick second on the crossing routes, maybe they run into him, you get a penalty. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. We talk about a game of inches. And Dak threw a great ball, and the guy hung on to it. I mean, he made a great catch, and sometimes you just got to look and be like, what else? What can we do? He got us. That guy got us.
So you talked about this a little bit. I think as we're kind of wrapping up the football here, there's seemed to be, to me, not as many targets to George Pickens. I think there was a stat going on. Maybe you said it earlier. The percentage that he actually was
59% of offensive plays. That's it.
That's it. What's your take on that? What do you think that's happening? What I don't know. He might have had. I need to get the stats for him again, guys. Sorry, a reception.
I think he had two or three. I think I don't.
But I would expect him, to Jared's point, I would expect him to kind of be eating all night with a defense that's, that thin. Was Traylon Diggs out there last night? I didn't even notice.
I would say this. Did anyone notice how fast the Cowboys got CeeDee Lamb the ball? Often and early.
Yeah.
They found ways to get him the ball. I'm looking right now. Here you go. Ready receiving. George Pickens, 3 for 26. 7 targets. Now, they tried to throw it to him 7 times. Now, some of those were kind of like throws out, but 3 for 26. Van Jefferson, 3 for 26. Naj, 2 for 35. Like no one's, you don't have that big standout. And George is a uber talented guy. Okay. And this is probably going to make, because this is me speculating. I don't know. But, I know Coach said after the game or whenever that they were trying to, for lack of better words, conserve his legs, conserve his energy. Maybe less plays would get more production during those plays. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm listening. Again,
you're the alchemist.
I'm just sitting here. Okay. It seems like maybe there was a guy. So basically, are you telling me that if he's in for 59% of the plays, I think last week he played 70 or 80. You got guys like Cam Hayward, who's 30 billion years old, that is out there for 80 or 90% of the plays.
Yeah, Cam's an animal.
And I get he's all pro in this and the other, but he's a lot older and he just coming off of big surgeries, whatever. What it tells me is he not out there when you're running the ball because he's not going to block? So is those part of your plays? Like, okay, we're running it. He's not going to block, so we're going to just take him out.
And this is you wondering.
Just guessing. This is just me guessing. Is it some form of punishment because of me just wondering, meetings, practice time, not giving it all in practice? Is this coaches like, is it punishment? He says no, but if he's arguably one of your best offensive players, like why is he not out there? So, there's just a little bit of head scratch. Maybe coach will talk about it tomorrow in his press conference, probably won't. But, there was a report this morning of potential trades for him. I can't see that happen. I think you should get a number 2 in here.
Yeah.
That could help George because every Batman needs a Robin. I don't know. I don't understand. They're just like there needs to be a reason why one of your best players on the field for 59% of the plays. Just let us know what it is. I have no idea what it is.
I would say, would you feel better if you knew? And it was, hey, this is the course of action.
Yes,
I want to know
for sure. Because now I'm not like, well, why is our stud not there? No, I would have gotten the ball a lot sooner. Like throw a short route, throw a slant, anything to get the ball in his hands. They did that to CeeDee Lamb yesterday. Get your guy the ball. We used to do that.
I can take one of your jerseys off the wall if you want to head back out. I mean,
I can't remember on the couch. That lady said, "Bless her heart."
Yeah,
I was on the couch.
Got to be some pads around here somewhere. I think.
How are you not getting in the ball? Like every good quarterback and good coordinator and good team knows when you've got a stud receiver, you get them the ball often and early. It keeps them involved, keeps them interested in the game. You get them a screen, you throw some balls to them. That's just what you do. It's smart football. Get George the ball a little bit early. But again, if it's because of punishment or he's not doing something, his job during the week, then I hear it.
But was that a realistic thing that happens? It's like, hey man, we're gonna put our team at jeopardy as punishment for assumably public school, baby. What's up? Off the field stuff. Like, hey man, now everybody's got to deal with your absence.
And if it were the case that was what's actually happening, are they actually going to talk about it?
No.
Yeah.
I would say this: if you're going to punish in that way, you do something like you don't start him. Mm-hmm. Like we're not going to start you today. You don't get to run out of the tunnel. You don't get to be on the field the first series, so you don't go down as a start in your stat book, which that matters to some people. I wouldn't keep him out of the game. That's why I wonder if it's more like they're like, okay, he's not blocking in the run game at all. So what's the point of having him out there? That's what I wonder. Again, wonder.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Because he is a talent. My goodness, you can see the things he does. But I saw at the end of the game, he grabbed a guy's face mask and threw him down. There's just some stuff that's going on that you're like, man, is that the frustration? The eye black. I know Mr. Rooney probably didn't love that. And to each their own. But man, I don't know. There's something going on there.
Yeah.
And we need some better detectives than us to figure it out.
Well, Inspector Gadget.
Coach Tomlin, if you want to call in right now,
Yeah.
no. What you wanna do?
Anything we're saying about Russ? Or have we?
I would imagine that you start having these conversations, right? There's two losses now, but I don't think it's Justin's performance necessarily. I know people are coming for his throat just because he's the leader of the offense, but I thought what he did with what he had, like, what are you gonna do, man?
I would say this. I don't think it's time to pull the plug on Justin. I don't. Did he have a great game? No. Did he have a bad game? No. Did he miss some things? Sure. But there were also some balls that were dropped. There's some protection issues. There are other things that were wrong with the offense besides Justin Fields. If you asked me right now, what do I think is going to happen this week? I would say stick with Justin. I would stay with Justin another week and give him another shot. I have this sneaky feeling that we're going to Oakland, going to Las Vegas, right? Going to play the Raiders.
Yeah.
I just have the sneak. I don't think the Raiders are very good.
Okay. Weird time to throw a jab
about
in.
that.
Well, first of all, you can just read numbers, Jared. I mean, this isn't.
Well, we saw that app. Remember the?
Oh yeah. Just take our word for it.
Yeah, just trust us. I think there's an outside chance that Coach T is going to dust off the old Grizzly not this one. The old Grizzly Russell Wilson.
Come on,
Really?
Russ.
I'm just saying.
Really? This is big?
This is just a
Gut feeling.
Speculation.
It's just a space. It's like one of those ones. Like, you know what? I'll put $1 on it.
Interesting.
Well,
know?
here's my you're gonna put somebody coming off an injury now. We don't know if that's really coming off an injury or it's like he came off injury in week 2 and we're riding the hot hand. But you're gonna feed him to Max Crosby as your first.
Max didn't play last. Did he play last week? He was out week
Did he?
before.
Oh, well,
No, listen. I'm just saying. I think they should stay with Justin for another week and keep it going. But I just don't be surprised if. And Tomlin won't make it. I don't think he'll make any call or decision.
Everybody's getting their betting app out right now.
It's that long shot.
Disclaimer.
Right? It's just that long shot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wouldn't be just if we come on this show next week, and I'm sitting here like this, like.
And you have a hat that says "I told you so." No, see now, if he sees this, he's not going to do it. He had a plan.
Had a plan.
If we come back next week and I have millions of dollars in my bank account,
Right. Yeah. I'll say this, okay, because we got to land this plane here. Last thing I want to ask you about is, speaking of Raiders, Davante Adams. All right, he has requested a trade. There are some teams that are interested. You're talking about a number 2. I know there's some people were talking about trading George. Again, I agree. I don't think that makes any sense whatsoever. I don't know if we have the space or what is realistic with getting somebody of the Davante Adams' caliber in Pittsburgh. I would love to see him in Pittsburgh, but do you think that this is a realistic landing spot for him? And if so, how do you think that would get done?
No, I don't think it's realistic. Because here's what I would say. Davante Adams is arguably the best in the game right now. He's an absolute animal. But if he came here and you got rid of, are you getting rid of George or is he coming here with George?
You tell me.
Because if he comes here with George, okay, watch out. Here we go.
Right.
New Orleans, we might be coming.
But what are we giving up?
I don't know. But my point is, if he comes here, if you're getting rid of George and Davante comes, well, then you're still in the same boat that's sinking and you need a number 2 receiver.
Hey, I don't know how this works, but guess Russ for Davante Adams. Because they got Gardner Minshew right now.
Yeah. Well,
you feel good with Justin Fields.
Of course you
He's
would.
proven.
Justin Fields is your guy of the future. So I think that would be again, my only concern is that are you getting Davante and getting rid of George? Because you need 2 guys.
Yeah.
Like those 2 would be a crazy tandem. They would be really good and you could do a lot of things and you're going to open up the run game because now you're scared of the pass game because you got 2 studs on the outside. I think that would be crazy. The problem is Davante Adams has a relationship, and I assume it's a good one, with Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think he's going to?
I think the Jets, I think they'll do anything they can to get him. to keep Aaron happy.
I mean, I think
because
any team would do anything they can to get.
That's just my guess. And whether they are good friends or not, I don't know. But I just feel like that's
I mean, they were pretty lethal
landing
green.
spot.
Yeah. So, all right.
yeah.
Well, you've heard it here first, and by that I mean a bunch of speculation,
Bunch of nothing.
wild speculation. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said in the past weeks, we got a lot of cool stuff coming on football, and please stay tuned. As we get into the season, we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. Evan will be back.
Yes, we're going to get Evan back.
We have committed.
Hopefully next week.
Yes. We have committed to Evan coming back, and not only because we love Evan, you love Evan, but we also like to eat. So stay tuned in for that. If you are not already, go ahead and give @Footballin with Ben a follow on Instagram, as well as Dad Tired. And let's hope Vegas goes a little bit better for us.
Get back on track.
All right. And we will
Let's
see
get back on
you
track.
guys next time.